What is up, everyone out there on YouTube? I am TF Collector 1218, and this is my first review here on this channel. And for my first review today, I think it's very proper that we start with my favorite line, the Studio Series Transformers line, with the first figure in that line, number 1, Deluxe Class Bumblebee. So let's go ahead and take a look at the packaging that Bumblebee does indeed come in. Right there you have a picture of Bumblebee number 1, of course, of the Studio Series. He is Bumblebee 8 plus Hasbro from the original Transformers movie. Transformers there on the side. Generations up top, also in collaboration with the Karatomi, of course, moving Bumblebee himself out of the way here. We can take a look at this awesome side profile image. We have number 1 Studio Series Bumblebee Deluxe Class. On the back, of course, we have some product images of him both in robot and vehicle mode. We have numbers 2, 3, and 4 of the Studio Series. Reviews coming soon. He is big screen inspired. There is his bio. If you want to read that, I will read it. Bumblebee faces off with Decepticons to protect his human friends. Backdrop, of course, included. We'll take a look at that later. This is an officially licensed GM product. On the top of the box, it says Transformers. On this side of the box, you have another picture of Bumblebee. And on the bottom, it's a barcode. Now, before we take a look at the figure himself, of course, he does include his instruction booklet, number 1 of Studio Series. Basically the same thing you get on the packaging, just with a picture of the figure there. And on the back, it just gives you all that. Now moving on to the figure himself. This is, of course, the first entry in the Studio Series line. And he transforms into this very gorgeous 1977 Chevy Camaro. But let's look at all the details that you get on this figure. You can see you get some silver up front with some nice headlights. Nice silver here on the front of the car. Of course, you get your black stripes running all the way through. Very nice yellow used throughout. The wheels are painted in gray. On the bottom, you have a lot going on there. On the back, you get 2 nicely painted tail lights and a little spot for your license plate and some more very nice silver there on the figure. The windows are see-through. Unfortunately, you can see the feet for the robot mode, but not too much to complain about here with this vehicle mode. It looks very good. It is a very nice Camaro. Of course, he does have the rolling wheels, as most Transformers tend to. Now, he does come with one very nice accessory, that being his little blaster, done here in a very nice silver with some yellow all around. I think it's actually done in a yellow plastic painted over with the silver, as you can see there with the little bits of yellow on the end of those tabs. Now, this gun can be stored here in the vehicle mode. Basically what you do is you come back here to the underside and it can be tabbed in. So basically what you're just going to do is you see this tab, or this post rather, here will go right in there, and this tab will go right there. So you just tab that right on in, and it just stores on the back of his vehicle mode. Not the most elegant storage, but if you have him at certain angles, you cannot tell it's there, which is very nice indeed. Now, basically how I'm going to do these is I'm not going to do comparisons other than figures that I have reviewed on this channel. So seeing that I haven't reviewed any figures yet, there will not be a comparison for this video. And also, I'm only going to do comparisons that I deem worthy for that figure. But of course, either way, even if there were some deemed worthy comparisons, you can see those in future videos when I use this guy to compare to those figures. But really, that's pretty much it for this vehicle mode. So I say we transform this wow, can I speak? I say we transform this guy into robot mode. Let's get down to it. Now, getting into the transformation into robot mode for this guy, the first thing we're, of course, going to want to do is take this gun off the back of the figure. Now, what we can do is come here and just push this piece up like so. We can come here to the arms, and we can pull them out. They will come straight up like so. And like so, you can see these tab in. There are little tabs here that will go into little notches right underneath there. Now what we can do is come to the side here and untab. Whoa now. not that. We want to untab the whole entire section like so, and now we can start to wiggle this arm out as we bring this wheel down. So just wiggle that arm out of there like so as that wheel is brought down. We're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to untab the wheel and begin to wiggle this arm out. Now, one complaint I do have about this figure, he is at this point 7 years old, and this arm just comes right off. So for me personally, for the sake of my sanity, I'm going to sit this off to the side for the duration of this transformation. But we're just going to bring that arm out and bring that wheel down. Now what we can do here is we're going to come to the sides and undo these doors and bring those out to the sides as well. See if we can get this one undone. Basically, how these doors stay in place. I might have just called them wheels. I meant doors if I did. This tab will go behind this panel, and this panel's tab will go right under that tab. So we just bring that out like so. And now what we need to do is we need to pop this whole section up. So untab right here in the back. You can see these two tabs will go under that clear section. And just come here to the front and push this piece upwards. Just push this yellow piece up like that. And here is the main problem with this figure. This piece here is not pinned in. There's a later release of this figure, Studio Series 27, which I do not have, unfortunately, but I might look into getting, because they put a pin through here, which now prevents it from popping off. But this original version had a little issue of this just simply popping off like that, which is very, very annoying, especially when it happens over and over throughout the whole transformation. But we'll come back to that here in a second. We can angle these pieces up like so and like so. And now what we can do is bring his arms out of the way, make sure these are all up, and this whole section will come down, and that tab right there will go into that slot right there. So just bring that down and tab that in, and you can see where we're going from here. Now we're going to work on the legs, so we want to split the legs to start off. Then we want to come over here to the side, and we want to get a hold of this piece, which is tabbed in right behind that panel. Push that up like so. Come around here and do the same thing on this side. Untab that and push it up like so. Now we can come to the back of the leg and untab the foot. You can see there is a tab on the edge of the foot. That will just go into, if I can get a better shot of it, there is a slot right back there. And you can take this section, and basically what you're going to want to do is swing it around. But before you try to swing it, you need to push this piece over like that, so you have the clearance to swing all of this around this way like so. And now you can push that piece in. For this gray piece, you want to bring it all the way back. You want to bring the foot in a little bit. That way you can rotate it forward. And there, as you can see, is a slot there and a tab right there. And that will tab right in like so. It isn't the best tab in the world. It doesn't always work perfectly, but you do want to make sure you have this slider pushed all the way in. And there you have one leg completed for Bumblebee. Let's go ahead and do the other side real quick. Just untab that back piece, push this around, swing this whole section around like so, push this section in, bring that gray piece all the way back, push this in so you have enough to rotate it, tab that foot in like so, and there are his legs. You can go ahead and straighten those out if you want. Now to finish up Bumblebee, just a couple steps here to finish him up. You want to rotate the arms and bring them down and bring the hand out. I will do that off screen for that other arm because that little section is very annoying, but we will talk more about that at the end of the review with my complaints. And for the back here, you just want to fold that in, and once again that will come off and get on your last nerve, but fold it in on that very brittle hinge and just fold that up into his back. And the final step to complete your Bumblebee here, you want to come around here and just untab these pieces and bring them down. Untab that piece, bring it down. And there you have your Bumblebee in his robot mode. Let me put that arm around in there and we'll talk about this robot mode. And after a slightly frustrating transformation, you get this Bumblebee into this very good looking robot mode. Both modes look really good. The problem with this figure is how you get from point A to point B. We'll talk about that a little more here in a few minutes. But we're going to take a closer look at this really good looking robot mode. Starting off with this very, very good looking face sculpt. Like, look at that. That is very nicely done. All the silver with the blue eyes. The Autobot logo, of course, there on the crest of the head. Looks very, very nice. Just running through here, you have some black and yellow paint, making that area look very nice. Down the leg, some nice silver here on the sides. Great sculpting and detailing. Looks very, very movie accurate all over. Of course, that is what Studio Series aims for. Even on the arms here, I'm not sure what is going on with the focus, but very nice detailing down the arms. The backpack, it's there, but it's not that bad because the wings stick out even further than it does. But overall, the look of this guy is absolutely beautiful. Now, of course, he is a robot, and he should be able to move so he can articulate. And I'm going to tell you how he does it. So the first thing you have is a ball joint on the head. The head can rotate. It can't quite do a full 360 unless you raise it up, just because you have that. But if you raise the head up, you can see you can get a full 360. He can look up a little bit, not really looking down much. The arms also on ball joints, but you do have these in the way kind of. But if you manipulate it, you can get that full 360. They can move in and out. You have a rotation here at the elbow. You do have a nice elbow bend, not quite 90 degrees, but it is there. You have a little bit of a wrist swivel, if you, not even a swivel really, just a joint. If you want to move it in, you can. You do have waist rotation, which is very nice to see on Transformers figures. The legs also on ball joints can kick forward that high. Back until you hit the backpack. They can come out all the way. You do get a thigh swivel. You do get a knee joint right at 90 degrees. You don't get an ankle pivot unless you want to pivot that way. If you want to pivot that way, my ankle, you can have that happening. And overall, the articulation on this figure is not that bad either. The looks, the articulation are on point, just that transformation. But of course, he does come with an accessory. And the accessory included with this figure is, of course, the cannon we took a look at earlier. It's the same cannon. We don't need to go over it again. You can store the accessory in a very, very nice manner. You have a plug right here, and you're literally going to plug this right into that. What is that, you say? That is a post, of course. Don't be dirty-minded. Or is it a butthole? Hey, we're not going to say all that now. Anyways, you can plug that there. If you wish to store it, that can be done. But of course, we want Bumblebee to have his blaster. We do not want Bumblebee plugging it into his backside. So what we can do is we can just remove that arm, or in my case, I could probably just shake it a little and eventually it would come off. But you just tab this right into where that arm was. A very snug fit for that, unlike the arm. And now what we can do with the arm is fold the hand in, and it can be the arm's turn to go into the backside, right like so. Now that arm doesn't always stay there. It is a very flimsy fit. That arm just does not like me. But as you can see, he does have a very nice cannon that can blast all over the place. And the last thing to take a look at with this guy is something that has come with all Studio Series figures to this date, even though it is being discontinued soon, sadly. And that is this beautiful backdrop that comes inside the box from the scene where he fights Barricade for the first time in the dark. And what you can do, as you can see, it just says Transformers 1, Studio Series Transformers. What you can do is you can plop Bumblebee right on there, and you can have a very nice looking display if you choose to do so. So there you have my review of the Transformers Studio Series 01 Deluxe Class Bumblebee from the original Transformers movie. And overall, I will say this figure, it's mid, ladies and gentlemen. As much as I respect it for being the start to this great line, it is not a great figure. In vehicle mode and robot mode, it does look great. The looks aspect of this figure are great. If you just want to display it, if you want to put it on a shelf in robot mode or vehicle mode, you're going to be happy with either one. They both look good. But getting from point A to point B is a disaster. Between this arm now falling off, granted, the figure is now 7 years old, but figures should hold up, especially nowadays. And this one, unfortunately, does not, because that arm falls off constantly throughout the transformation. The fact that they decided not to pin that back panel that forms the top of the car, they didn't pin it in this version. That is a major flaw. Happily, they fixed that with Studio Series 27 Clunker Bumblebee. So I say, if you want this guy, get the Clunker version, because that is going to save you a hassle when it comes to transformation, and you're going to get a much more enjoyable experience with the figure overall. Now, like I said, the figure does look good in both modes. The transformation is just terrible. The articulation, it's good for the most part. The ankle tilts are backwards due to transformation, so that's kind of disappointing. But overall, the figure isn't terrible. It's also not great. It's just mid. So for that, I'm going to have to give Studio Series 01 Bumblebee a 6.5 out of 10. That's going to be my rating for this figure, a 6.5 out of 10. If you can find it for a good deal, I would recommend it. But I also would recommend that if you can find the Clunker Bumblebee for even $10 more, get that one instead, because you're going to enjoy yourself a lot more with that figure than you will with this one. I appreciate everyone for clicking on this video, for checking out my first review here on this channel. I really would love if you could like, subscribe, even share the channel. Thank you, and have a great day. Peace.